So welcome you all for Tungal online classes. We are discussing the chapter ray optics. In that ray optics, so yesterday we have discussed regarding a normal shift and a total internal reflection, applications of total internal reflection. So we have seen, correct? So applications are what? Mirage, total reflecting prisms, diamond, brightness of diamond, and optical fibers. So after completion of that, now today we will discuss refraction at a spherical surface. Refraction at a spherical surface. Spherical surface or spherical refracting surfaces. Spherical refracting surface. What is the meaning of spherical refracting surface? Okay, na? A spherical refracting surface like same as that of mirrors. A spherical refracting surface is a part of a sphere. It is a transparent medium which is part of a sphere. I consider one sphere. So if I consider a part of a sphere which is transparent, this is called as spherical refracting surface. Okay, na? So this spherical refracting surface of two types. It may be of concave, so spherical refracting surface, refracting surface or convex spherical refracting surface. Convex spherical refracting surface. Okay, Nara? What is concave spherical refracting surface? A refracting surface which is concave towards the rarer medium. So if I consider a spherical refracting surface, so now this is rarer, this is denser, which is concave towards the rarer medium. This is concave na? So inner one is concave, outer one is convex, which is concave towards the rarer medium, that is called as concave spherical refracting surface. And similarly, a spherical refracting surface which is convex towards the rarer medium, that is called as convex refracting surface. Convex and concave. Similar to that of mirrors, what we have studied, that mirrors, now we will apply that mirror for reflection, now we will apply for refraction for spherical refracting surface. So we will see some terminology. So terminology which is used for spherical refracting surface. So basic terminology for this spherical refracting surface. What is the terminology we studied in? So mirrors, same terminology here also will get. What is the pole of a spherical refracting surface? So spherical refracting surface will have a midpoint, one center is there, that center is called as pole. So what is center of curvature? No need of writing the definition. So till now what I am discussing for 15-20 minutes, only for, so just listen. Whichever the question will be asked, so I will tell that time, write down the notes. What is the meaning of center of curvature? The center of curvature of a spherical refracting surface, this spherical refracting surface is a part of a sphere. For this center will be there na, that center only called as the center of curvature. The center of the sphere of which the given spherical surface is a part is called as center of curvature. So what is the name? Center of curvature. After that, so what is the radius of curvature? Same definitions. So once again recalling, that's why going bit fast. What is radius of curvature? So the radius of the spherical refracting surface or the radius of the sphere of which given spherical surface is a part, or it is the distance between so center of curvature and pole. The distance is called as radius of curvature. Center of curvature represented by the symbol C and radius of curvature represented by the symbol R. So one is the value of C and other the value of R. So after coming to know what is the radius of curvature, then what is the principal axis? Same ra. So what is the principal axis? It is the line passing through center of curvature and pole. So if I draw a line joining the passing through center of curvature and pole, that line name is called as principal axis of the spherical surface. So these are the basic terminology which we will use for studying refraction at a spherical surface. After using the basic terminology, new Cartesian sign convention. So Cartesian sign convention. What is the sign convention? We have written for mirror in reflection. The same sign convention here also will write. So I will recall that the first sign convention, all distances should measured from pole along the principal axis. So distances should measure, whether it may be an object or whether it may be an image, the distances should measured from pole along the principal axis. That is the first sign convention rule. And second rule, though the distances which are measured, for example, this is the object here, this is my incident ray, and this is U. So distances should measured from O. So from P along the principal axis, then PO will be taken as minus U. For example, here image is there, then the image distance is Pi, which is measured in the direction of incident ray, can be taken as positive. Same ra, though the distances which are measured in the direction of incident ray taken as positive, in the direction opposite to incident ray taken as negative. The same third point, those heights which are measured above the principal axis are taken as positive and below the principal axis are taken as negative. So if I written the object name is AB and this is A dash B dash, AB above the principal axis, that's why positive, A dash B dash below the principal axis, that is negative. Are you getting Ara? So this is the new Cartesian sign convention which we will use for the refraction at a spherical surface. What is the first condition? All distances should measured from the pole along the principal axis. The second condition is, though the distances which are measured in the direction of incident ray taken as positive, though the distances which are measured in the direction opposite to incident ray taken as negative. For deriving the relation, third one is, those heights which are measured above the principal axis are positive and below the principal axis are negative. So after completion this, for studying the refraction at a spherical surface, so we will make some assumptions. Assumptions for studying the refraction at a spherical surface. The first assumption we will study the aperture of a spherical surface. Aperture is small. What is the meaning of aperture? The effective area. The area which is available for the refraction, so that is called as aperture. The aperture of the, now this is the area. How much area available for the refraction is called as aperture. So the assumption we will study for deriving the relation for refraction at a spherical surface, the aperture of the spherical surface is small. The second assumption is, we will consider the object compulsory point object only, which is placed on the principal axis. The second assumption is, what is the second assumption? Object is of point size placed on the principal axis. Point size object placed on the principal axis. Clear? And the third point, the third assumption is, the incident ray, the angle made by incident ray or the angle of incidence and angle of refractions are small. So these are the whatever the derivation we will derive for refraction at a spherical surface, we will consider this assumption. First assumption is aperture is small. The second assumption is object is of point size placed on the principal axis. Placed on principal axis. Principal axis. And the third assumption is angle of incidence and angle of refraction are small. Whenever angle of incidence, angle of refraction are small, sin A value approximately equal to I and sin R value approximately equal to R. So these are the assumptions we will make for studying refraction at a spherical surface. Okay na? Now till now, so what is, they may ask for subjective point of view, what is spherical refracting surface? A spherical refracting surface is a part of a sphere which is transparent. A spherical refracting surface is of two types, only definition. A spherical refracting surface is a part of a sphere. If you want to write the definition, spherical, note down in class notes, spherical refracting surface. Refracting surface. A spherical refracting surface is a, so it is a transparent medium, which is a part of a sphere. Just you should know this definition for, so sphere, which is a part of a sphere. Only this much enough. Remaining just information, so you should know basics. Now, based on this refraction at a spherical surface, today class I will discuss one important derivation. So very important derivation for 5 marks. So refraction at a spherical surface, or this one they will ask for refraction at a spherical surface, derive a relation between for refraction at a spherical surface. We'll write the question. This is the main heading. Under this main heading, so what is the question they will ask is, for refraction at a spherical surface, so show that so mu2 by v minus mu1 by u is equal to mu2 minus mu1 divided by r. This is the derivation we want to prove. This derivation gives us the relation between object distance, image distance, radius of curvature and refractive indexes of the object space and image space. I will show you clearly. Basically you should know what is V, image distance, what is U, object distance, what is R, radius of curvature. Now what is mu1 and mu2? Mu1 is the refractive index of the medium in which object is placed, and mu2 is the refractive index of the medium in which we will get image. This relation we can derive in different cases. So any one case I am considering, I will derive this case for convex refracting surface, spherical surface when object is in rarer medium and whose real image formed in denser medium. denser medium. See this Ram. This derivation can be also derived for concave refracting surface and a real object and virtual image. We can also derive convex refracting surface, a real object and a virtual image. But now the case is I am considering the convex refracting surface and real object to real image. Okay na? In textbook also they given two, but any one method is enough. This derivation is very important. We want to derive for a spherical refracting surface, we need to prove that mu 2 by V minus mu 1 by U is equal to mu 2 minus mu 1 divided by R. Very important derivation. If this derivation understood, then only you can derive the next derivation, which is of Lensmaker's formula. Okay ra? Are you getting for a refractionate spherical surface, for convex refracting spherical surface, when object is placed in rarer medium and whose real image formed in denser medium, we want to derive that, or we want to show that mu 2 by V minus mu 1 by U is equal to mu 2 minus mu 1 divided by R. For deriving this derivation, so okay, let me consider, so convex refracting surface. A refracting surface which is convex towards the rarer medium is called as convex refracting surface. So this is my convex or spherical refracting surface. So which is, this one will be the pole, and here is there of center of curvature, right? So pole and center of curvature. But assumptions you keep in mind, object will be of point size placed on the principal axis, angle of incidence and angle of refraction are very small, and aperture is very small. Now let us see object, this will be of rarer medium, and this will be of denser medium. This rarer medium of refractive index mu 1, rarer medium of refractive index mu 1 and denser medium of refractive index mu 2. As per my given condition, object was placed in a rarer medium of refractive index mu 1. So mu 1 is also called as the refractive index of the object space. Object space refractive index given by what? So mu 1. Now I want to get image form. When we will get the image, light rays after refraction converges. If they converge, we will get a real image. If they appear to be diverged, we will get a virtual image. But the condition is object is real and image also real. So let us see, many light rays will come from the object and incident on the mirror. So considering all light rays are somewhat difficult, let me consider two such rays. So one of the light ray which is traveling along the principal axis. So principal axis will play like a role of normal. So light ray refracted without any bending. So another light ray, let me call it is incident at A. On the spherical refracting surface, the light ray was incident at A. Okay, Nara? Now what happened? So light ray traveling from rarer to denser, light ray will bend towards the normal. So that's why the light ray refracted. This is my refracted ray. So two refracted rays are converging where I will get real image. Where I will get a real image. In order to measure angle of incidence and angle of refraction, let me draw normal to the refracting surface. How can I draw normal to the refracting surface? So normal drawn at a point, if I want to draw a normal, so join the point with the center of curvature. That will give you the normal. The diagram should be clear. In the diagram you need to put arrow marks clearly. In ray optics I am telling many times, if you forgot to put the arrow mark, your diagram is not at all considered. Diagram should be drawn at the right corner. Okay, Nara? Now image formed is real. Okay? Now angle made by incident ray with the normal is angle of incidence I. This is angle made by refracted ray with the normal is R. So let us suppose now derivation. So diagram is over. Which one? diagram part is over. Now in this way, so let me write what is the notation pi. PO will gives us object distance. So PO, this is the distance of the object from pole, and PI distance of the image, PC radius of curvature. If I apply the sign convention, PO is measured in the direction opposite to incident ray, so which is of minus u, whereas PI measured in the direction of incident ray, which is positive, and whereas the PC measured in the direction of incident ray will be of positive. So what is the refractive index of the image space? Here we called image now. So image is of denser medium of refractive index mu2. Refractive index, that is the mu2 is the refractive index of the image space. Mu1 is the refractive index of space, object space. Right, Ara? This sign convention understood? YPO value minus u, YPA value plus p, YPC value plus r. Understood now? Now for derivation part. So derivation. And one more important point, further diagram, 1 mark will be given to you. So after that you need to describe description for the diagram, considering one convex spherical refracting surface which separating the two mediums of refractive indexes mu1 and mu2, such that, so here must and should condition is, so mu1 value less than mu2. If mu1 value less than mu2, then only you will come to know that, so that this side a radar medium, this side denser medium. Consider an object O of point size which is kept on a principal axis. Then the light rays from the object incident on the mirror, so they will converge at a point I where I will get the real image. So after getting that, for making this derivation, I will make one consideration. Let the angle made at O is alpha, angle made at I is beta, and angle made at C let me call gamma. This is one assumption I made. Alpha, beta, gamma are the angle made by the object and image and the center of curvature or normal with the principal axis. So alpha value, beta value and gamma value you have to remember. Okay, Nara? And I am drawing a perpendicular from A onto the principal axis where it intersecting the principal axis at M. Where it is intersecting? It is intersecting the principal axis at point M. Okay, Nara? Is it okay? So above this part is there now. So I will rub this. This case you have noted. I am deriving the derivation for which case? For the case object is placed in rarer medium and whose real image is formed in denser medium, because I want to utilize the space properly and completely. So for that, here what I want to show? I want to show that mu2 by V minus mu1 by U is equal to mu2 minus mu1 divided by R. This is the derivation we want to derive this. Right, Ara? So after this, now see the derivation part I will continue. So derivation, not deviation, it is the derivation. Theory part is completed now. For deriving that, what is the assumptions I made? This alpha, beta, gamma can be visible clearly now. So what is alpha? Let, what is the assumption I made? Let, so AOM, this is if I consider AOM, angle AOM is equal to alpha. Next angle ACM is equal to beta, and angle AIC is equal to, and this is gamma and this is beta. Angle made at O alpha, I beta and C gamma. I drawn a perpendicular because it is curved now. We want to measure the distances from P. But it is curved. So for that I have drawn a normal from A. But remember, if I consider aperture is very small, so P very close to M. When P very close to M, the distance measured from P or M, both are nearly same. So after writing this, now can I apply the Snell's law? Applying Snell's law. Snell's law. Light traveling from optically rarer medium to denser medium. Then what can I write? Mu 1 into sin I is equal to mu 2 into sin R. But here condition is if I and R are small. Already we made assumption that angle of incidence and angle of refraction values are very small. If I and R are very small, sin I value will become I and sin R value will become R. Right, Tara? So from this what I will get? Mu 1 into I is equal to mu 2 into R. Can I put as equation 1? Can I write it as equation 1? So after writing that, now I will use property of triangle, that property given by, so in a triangle exterior angle is equal to sum of the opposite to interior angles. So from the which triangle I will consider first time is, so I will consider the triangle of exterior angle value will be equal to, so interior angle na, I will consider the triangle AIC. From the triangle AIC. So here you can see A, here of I, here of C. In this triangle, interior angles are R and beta and exterior angle is gamma. So exterior angle is equal to sum of the opposite to interior angles. According to the property, exterior angle is equal to sum of the opposite to interior angles. I can write gamma and R, you show the difference properly. Gamma is equal to R plus beta. From this, what is the value of R is equal to gamma minus beta. Gamma minus beta. So this one I got. So from here, triangle AIC, I will call it as equation 2. So next I will consider from triangle, so first one is AOC. From the triangle AOC, A and here O and here C. In this, interior angles are alpha and gamma, exterior angle is I. So what can I write? I is equal to alpha plus gamma. So I will write it as equation 3. This point is very important. We have to write from the triangle AIC, exterior angle is equal to sum of the opposite to interior angles. From the triangle AOC, so I value is equal to alpha plus gamma. Now we want in this equation 1, I value and R value. Substituting equations, so 2 and 3 in 1. In which equation? In equation 1. So what I will get, tell me? Mu 1 into I value given by alpha plus gamma is equal to mu 2 into R value given by gamma minus beta. So till now understood? Once you check it, first I apply the Snell's law, then substituted the value I and R. Then I got, so this one can I call equation 4? Okay, Nara? So after that, now I am rubbing this part. Okay, na? Now see, so actually, if I consider this, so which one? If I consider the triangle AOM, so from the triangle, so AOM. In this triangle, so can I write tan alpha? Actually, if alpha, beta, gamma value also, I want to write the values of alpha, I want to write the value of beta, and I want to write the value of gamma. Alpha value, beta value and gamma value, so I want to define. So if I want to define, so what I will get the answer? It is right angle triangle, it will become hypotenuse. This will be of adjacent side. So this will be of opposite side and this will be of adjacent side. Correct, Ara? So from the triangle AOM, so what is the value of tan alpha? So tan alpha can be written as, or better instead of calling, so tan alpha, better we can write directly now. Instead of considering the triangle, if I consider AP looking like a arc. See, this is AP, so A and this is the value of P and it is making an angle theta, alpha. So now AP looking like a arc. Whenever a arc is making an angle theta, so what is the theta formula? Theta is equal to S divided by R. Theta is equal to S divided by R. By using that relation, alpha value is equal to, so AP divided by, so this value will be O na OP. Understood, Ara? Are you getting? If arc is making an angle theta, then alpha is equal to AP, or I can also write in place of AP, AM also. Your wish. AP by OP. Similarly, beta definition can I write? Beta also looking like a arc. So what is the value of beta? Beta value is equal to AP divided by, so which one? PI. Similarly, gamma value given by AP, so divided by which one? PC. This values how I written, understood, Ara? By considering alpha, so arc definition, arc making an angle theta at the center, so theta definition, length of the arc divided by radius. So I written theta, alpha I written, beta I written, gamma value I written. Substituting alpha, beta, gamma in equation 4. Substitute alpha, beta, gamma in equation 4. So tell me what I will get? Mu1 into which one? Mu1 into alpha value given by AP by OP plus gamma value given by how much? Gamma value AP divided by PC will be equal to, so mu2 into what is the value of gamma? AP divided by PC minus AP divided by PI. Correct, Ara? Beta value PI. I substituted which values? Substituted the values of alpha, beta and gamma. Okay? So after substituting the values, now let us check it. In all the terms, AP is common. So AP, can I cancel? AP term is cancelled. Then what is left? Mu1, can I multiply? Mu1 by OP plus mu1 by PC will be equal to mu2 by PC minus mu2 by PA. Now, can I substitute the values? We know OP or PO is equal to minus U, PI is equal to V, PC is equal to R. So then what I will get the answer? Mu1 divided by OP value minus U plus this is mu1 divided by R, this is equal to mu1. So mu2 divided by R minus this is mu2 by PI value plus V. Rearranging the terms, I will get mu2 by V minus mu1 by U is equal to mu2 by R minus mu1 by R, which can be written as mu2 by V minus mu1 by U is equal to mu2 minus mu1 divided by R. This is our required derivation. Mu2 by V minus mu1 by U is equal to mu2 minus mu1 divided by R. That one only now we want to prove. But if you remember the formula, this format, you will get confusion. Every time it is not compulsory object refractive index of mu1 and image refractive index of mu2. This formula can be also, you can remember like this. So we can write it as, this relation is very important for us. So we can write this relation as, so refractive index of image space, refractive index of image space I will use the total board. How can I remember this derivation? So I can remember this derivation as like follow: refractive index of image space divided by distance of the image minus refractive index of the object space divided by distance of the object will be equal to, so difference in refractive indexes of image space or I can write it as, so image space refractive index minus object space refractive index divided by radius of curvature of the spherical surface. If you remember this formula like this format, then you can apply it easily. Better you remember always, for a refraction at a spherical surface, the refractive index of the image space divided by distance of the image, and the refractive index of the object space divided by distance of the object will be always equal to the difference in the refractive indexes of image space minus object space divided by, so radius of curvature. Once again I am telling, if you know this derivation, if you can apply this derivation, then only in the next class we will discuss another important derivation, that is Lensmaker's formula. That Lensmaker's formula can be derived if you know this, how to apply the formula. Without applying this formula, like in reflection, mirror equation is how much important, like in refraction, so this equation is that much important. So this is, so relation between the refractive index of the object space and image space, distance of the object, distance of the image, and radius of curvature. So understood? So this is for this class. In the next class we will start regarding refraction by a lenses, and we will see, so what is the mirror Lensmaker's formula. Okay na? So thank you.